Hello, viewers of The Pioneer. How are you doing? I hope you're healthy and well. I'm here again with our detailed map report on Russia-Ukraine war. This is a really great happiness. We also stated in our previous map report as well, a critical period has entered in the Russia-Ukraine war. Ukrainian armed forces are withdrawing from some of the positions they held. This is because they currently hold some strategically insignificant areas. It makes a little sense to inflict losses in these areas. Instead, the Ukrainian armed forces are now narrowing the front. In this way, they may be looking for a way to destroy Russian troops in the area by drawing them further in. The Russian army will infiltrate further into the Ukrainian positions, and the Ukrainian army may have the chance to destroy more Russian units at close range. So what is the latest situation on the front line? Let's analyze the developments together. As the Pioneer team, we continue to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to your screens. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. You can also support me and my team by using the super thanks button below the video. This support will make me very pleased. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. Let's make a change today and start by looking at the latest developments on the Bakhmut front line. Let's see the map of the Bakhmut front line. As you know, in the north of this area, the Ukrainian army had taken up positions, especially in the direction of Yahidny and Berkhivka. Later, some of the Ukrainian armed forces units stationed here were shifted to support the ongoing counteroffensive operations in Zaporizhia. This is how the advance here had to come to halt. Then, for the last month or so, the intensive pressure of the Russian armed forces on the Bakhmut front line began. Some more Ukrainian troops were moved to support the defensive operations of the Ukrainian armed forces on the Bakhmut front line. In fact, in a scene, the Ukrainian army sacrificed areas here. According to the latest reports, Russian troops are continuing their offensives in the Bogdanivka direction. In the past weeks, they managed to capture some Ukrainian positions in these areas. As a result of the controlled withdrawal, Ukrainian armed forces troops were deployed to Avdiivka on the Donetsk front line. In the southern part of the Bakhmut front line, Russian troops continued their operations near Klishchivka and Andriivka. However, in this area, the Ukrainian armed forces still have the advantage. The dominant hills advantage of the Ukrainian army near Klishchivka makes it difficult for the Russian army. The Ukrainian armed forces managed to repel the attacks of the Russian armed forces both in Klishchivka and Andriivka. Let's continue with the artillery activity in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted Andriivka, Klishchivka, Ivanivsky, and Bogdanivka. On the other hand, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted Russian positions in the direction of Yahidny, Berkhivka, and Bakhmut city center and Kordomoivka. Let's continue by looking at the latest developments on the Donetsk front line. First, let's see the region on the map. As you know, the Ukrainian armed forces are conducting a very important defense activity in the region. Russian troops attack every day with hundreds of armored vehicles and infantry. However, these attacks cause nothing but heavy losses for the Russian army. According to the latest information from the region, units of the Russian armed forces supported by long-range weapons continued offensive operations near Novomikhailovka and Mariinka near Pervomskoye in the Tinokoy area. In Severnoye, in an industrial area southeast of the Ukrainian fortifications, in the northeast near the coking plants in Stepnoye. There are reports of tactical successes by the Russian troops behind the railway line in the Mariinka direction. However, they have not yet been confirmed. Ukrainian defenses in the area are being strengthened every day. Ukrainian forces from many areas are withdrawing to defend this area and are deployed in the direction of Avdiivka. Allegedly, more Ukrainian troops may be deployed to the positions in this area. This area is the road to the heart of Ukraine. Therefore, it is quite normal that other areas have to be sacrificed for its defense. Let's continue with the artillery activities in the region. According to the latest reports, artillery units of the Russian armed forces targeted positions of the Ukrainian armed forces in Pobeda, Georgiivka, Krasnogorovka, Novolskoye, Karlovka, Novopokropovskoye, and Orchetin, and Kermivka. In Kermivka, we can assume that an offensive of the Russian armed forces will take place in the near future. On the other hand, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces targeted positions of the Russian armed forces in Stromykholivka, Donetsk and the village of Krasnogorovka. Let's continue by analyzing the latest developments on the Zaporizhia front line. We will now examine both the Wuhldar and Robotny sector of the Zaporizhia front line together. When we first look at the Wuhldar, there are intense reports that Russian troops have captured some positions around Ostromayorsk and Yorkhain. However, we have not yet been able to confirm this information. However, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces in the region are intensively responding to the Russian attacks. In the Robotny sector, units of the Russian armed forces managed to retake a number of positions in Novoprokopivka side. Ukrainian troops did not carry out offensive actions during the day. We see that the Ukrainians remain in a more defensive positions. The region is actually calm compared to the past days. However, this calm is usually followed by a flurry of activity. Therefore, we should continue to monitor the region. Let's talk about artillery activity. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian armed forces units in Kamenskoye, Lobkoye, Novoandriivki, Novopavlovka, Novodanilovka, Malaya-Chokmakcha, Chervnovy, Varkhivnya, Tersa, and Malienkova. In turn, artillery units of the Ukrainian armed forces worked on the Russian armed forces in Zhervyanki, Kopany, Novoprokopovka, Verbov, Novofedorovka, and Novopokrovka and Miri. Let's also talk about the Kherson front line. According to the latest reports, on the Kherson front line, the Russian armed forces, supported by long-range weapons, attacked the Ukrainian positions in Krinky. Here, Ukrainian Marines maintain territorial control. There is a partial success of the Russian army, but not a great success. Compared to the past days, it was a quiet day on the front line. Let's look at the artillery activity. According to the latest reports, Russian artillery units targeted Ukrainian armed forces in Kherson, Antoniivka, Tiganinka, Chekhikny, and Versilov. Ukrainian artillery units targeted Russian armed positions in Olopristan, Olishki, Poima, and Pechenivka. What do you think? Do you think the decision of the Ukrainian army to make a controlled withdrawal is correct? What consequences will this decision have? Do you think that the Ukrainian army can further defend the Donetsk front line? How do you think the Ukrainian armed forces should proceed? Do you think the situation on the Kherson front line will change? Let me know in the comments. I read and care about all your comments.